Hey guys, welcome back. So today in this video we're going to be taking a look at a tool known as memctl, which is going to give you some form of iOS kernel debugging functionality, even on modern iOS jailbreaks. So this tool was developed by Brandon Azad, and he actually discussed it in this post on his website. Now this is actually over a year old, but I recently came across this again, so I thought it'd be a good idea to make a video showing you guys what this tool does and giving you kind of an example of how to use it. So you can actually read this full blog post here, and he talks about how each of the features are implemented inside of this tool. Obviously I'm not really going to go into that now, we're just going to be actually showing how the tool works. But essentially what this is, it is a live kernel introspection tool. Now it's not known as a debugger. He actually mentions here that he doesn't call it a debugger because of the lack of breakpoint ability. So you cannot set breakpoints on your kernel doing this, but other than that you have most of the other functionality of a debugger. So you can read and write the kernel memory, and that is actually the core fundamental aspect of how this tool is how everything else in this tool is implemented. So it's all based off of being able to read and write the kernel memory, and obviously that's done using task for PID 0, which I have another video covering that if you actually want to learn the basics on that. But yeah, he's basically used these fundamental functionalities to actually implement several other useful implementations in this tool that you can use. So we're not going to actually look at the write-up here, but if we go to the actual GitHub where you can download this, you can see it's open source, so you can have a look at how all of this is done. And he has here in the README a little explanation on how to actually compile this, so you can just execute these commands on your terminal and get this compiled onto your iOS device. And yeah, it does work on the recent iOS jailbreaks as well. So I've got an iOS 11 iPhone 10 that I'm going to be showing this on in this video. And yeah, he's got some list of specific supported ones there, but yeah, it does, as I said, it does work on 11.1.1 on my iPhone 10. And yeah, he's got a little usage section here, so you can actually read what this does, although you can actually run this in the actual program itself. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. So we're going to SSH into my iPhone 10 from the Mac, and we're going to show you guys some of the features here that we've got. So obviously if you're on an iOS 11 jailbreak, once you've compiled this memctl tool, you're going to need to give it the special entitlements, the platform application entitlement that allows it to run on iOS 11. If you're on any other iOS version, you probably wouldn't need that. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and run it. So we're going to type memctl. I've already got this installed on this phone. So I've actually got this in my slash, so memctl, and you can see we get this little memctl with a little arrow where we can essentially enter commands. So just like inside of GDB or Radar 2 or anything like that, we can enter commands. So if we go down to the section here where it actually gives you the list of available commands, it says you can actually type question mark in the thing, and it will give you a list of all commands along with a description of what they do. So we're going to go through some of these. So first of all, we have I, which doesn't take any arguments, and this just basically prints out some basic information about your system. So if we run that, you can see the version of the kernel. You can see it's an iPhone 10.6, which is an iPhone 10, and then some other interesting things here. Yeah, so then the next few things we have an R command, which gives us the ability to read memory and print it in a certain format. We can print the raw binary data from memory. We can disassemble kernel memory, so this is actually going to give you kind of a instruction disassembly, just like you would get in GDB with the disas command. So you get sort of the list of instructions at a certain location. You can disassemble an entire function. You can read a string. So we have some basic memory manipulation things going on here. Then we have some more interesting stuff here. You can see we can find the proc struct for a process. So essentially how this works is you specify the process ID that you can find using the ps command. And what it will do is it's going to find the actual process structure that's held inside the kernel memory for that specified process running in userland. And this could be useful if you're trying to do some manipulation with kind of the low-level aspects of the process. We have the ability to call kernel functions and pass up to, I think you get up to 8 arguments with this. So you can actually call an arbitrary kernel function. You can call a kernel virtual method. Then we have some C++ stuff here. We can actually translate the virtual memory address to the physical memory in the RAM. But yeah, so you can see there's a whole load of different features here, and as I said, all of these are implemented on the core fact that you can read and write kernel memory. So he's just been very creative here with how he's actually read and write the kernel memory, that you can implement all of these other features. So another one here, kernel slide. We can set the virtual memory protections, allocate new regions of memory or deallocate them. decompress the kernel cache. And yeah, so we're going to go through a couple of these and I'll show you kind of how they work. And he actually does give you usage examples down here anyway, but yeah, we're just going to go through a couple examples on my iPhone 10. So we're going to start with actually finding the process structure for a userland process that's running. So I've just chosen a random process ID, and you can see the usage for this is fpr and then followed by that process ID. So we're going to type that and the process ID, and it's going to load a little bit here. It's going to actually prepare a kernel function call, I think. Yeah, we go there. And it should actually give us an address of where this structure is located in the kernel memory, which then we can proceed and use this address to actually read from that memory or do whatever else we want with it. So you can see there it gave us an address, and this is the address of that process structure for process ID 1738. And now what we can do with this address, you can see we have the R command there to read memory, so we can specify that address and then specify the length that we want to read. So let's just say 64 bytes, and you can see it's going to print this out just like you would get kind of functionality inside of any other debugger, so like GDB or LLDB. It prints out the memory addresses along with the data that's located at those addresses. We can also write to these addresses as well. Obviously I'm actually not going to do that right now because the face cam is actually being recorded on my iPhone 10, which I'm currently SSH'd into. So if I write to some area of memory that causes a kernel panic, the face cam is obviously going to stop, and that's going to mess up this video. So we're not going to cover the write into memory, but you can do that. So what we can do is actually translate this address that we've been given for that process structure to the physical address in the RAM. So for that we use the kp command, so paste that address there, and that's going to return us the physical address of this, so the one that's not been kind of abstracted with virtual memory. We can also show the actual memory region information from this address, so we type VM, and it's going to give us kind of the start and end address of this memory region. We can see the protections on it. We can try to find the symbol for an address. I'm not really sure how this is going to work. If we type S, yeah, so we got no symbol for this address because it's just a structure in the memory. But if you wanted to find, for example, what function a certain address belongs to, I'm assuming this is what that would do. It would give you kind of the name of the function. And also, if we actually go over a couple of the examples it gives you, you can see here the fc command followed by an argument will give you all of the instances of the, for example, in this case, Apple Mobile File Integrity class. So we're going to try that, fc Apple Mobile File Integrity. And this should return us an address right there, again, which we could then use to inspect, as they do here. They find all of the occurrences of this pointer on the heap, and the disassembly function that works right there. So you can see it prints out the ARM assembly. For some reason we've got some kind of missing instructions here that maybe it currently doesn't support, but it does give you similar functionality to any other debugger, as I said, like GDB or LLDB. And it's all in the live kernel. So I'm sure you guys can see how this is pretty useful if you're someone who's interested in even just learning about how different parts of the kernel are working, but especially for someone who's doing any kind of research on kernel exploit development, this could come in very useful. Unfortunately, as I mentioned at the start, it doesn't currently support breakpoints. I'm not actually sure if it ever will. But other than that, it is still a very useful tool, being able to kind of do all this manipulation on the kernel memory. So go ahead and check out this project if you're interested in having a play around with the iOS kernel on your own device. I'll leave a link to this down in the description. As I said, compiling it's pretty easy. It gives you the actual commands right here, so you can just copy and paste them straight into your terminal, get this into your device, and add the entitlement if you're on iOS 11. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video. If you actually want to look at how this works at a lower level, in other words, how you can actually read and write from kernel memory, as I mentioned, I do have a video on my channel on iOS kernel memory manipulation using vmwrite and vmread from the muck API. And this video essentially shows you how you can write code that will use the kernel's task port to write to memory addresses and read data from arbitrary memory addresses. And as I said again, with that functionality, this guy's been able to implement all of these other features. So it might be quite cool to play around with this if you're interested in how it actually works at a deeper level. So go ahead and watch that video. I'll leave a link to this in the description as well. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and I will see you next time.